Hi.
What is that furniture mart?
I don't know.
Big
I've never
thing
been
there.
I never go into
Like a big
stores.
flea
I
market.
buy
It
things, but
didn't look like a store.
no, it's a warehouse.
That,
you know,
that used to be the flea market.
one of those warehouse.
So,
You know.
oh,
You know.
oh.
Those are nice sunglasses, Gloria.
Oh my goodness, look at that.
I didn't look. I tried
Oh
not
no.
to.
I
Pulls up
tried-
immediately.
I used to love looking at my pictures. No
Oh
more.
no.
I don't even want to see me.
I can't.
How old?
Every picture that's taken of me is a
Ugly.
nightmare.
Look, Mom.
Beautiful.
Oh dear.
Oh yeah. No more.
No.
My pictures are terrible. I used to take the best pictures. Everyone was good.
I know.
Everyone. And now, then a few years later, I thought, Al, what's that? You know what? Then I thought, don't take any more pictures of me.
Yeah. Just my eyes. In every picture I have ever taken, I hate my eyes. And I don't know
We're
what.
going on the curb, dear.
Mom,
Look at, we're going like your dad.
I'm.
Right on the curb.
It's not on the curb. There's a red
product.
for example.
Like Sylvania of Canada. We had big factory behind us. I worked for the president of Sylvania of Canada. The Sylvania produces products. And I didn't find that interesting.
It isn't.
No, I didn't like that so much. But I liked, and I worked for Surrey Place Center. We worked with for developmentally delayed people. That's the service we provided. Maple Leaf Garden,
Sure.
we provide the service with bring
Sure,
talk
4-H.
bring. I like that better. More fun. I found the other one kind of boring.
Right.
Yeah, they are bored. You know what I used to work for once? Air Reduction and Ohio Chemical.
I don't even remember.
You know what that was?
Where was that?
It was,
I don't remember that.
on Front Street.
Oh yeah?
It was, you know,
remember.
I can't remember even now what we sold. That was
How long
stupid.
did you work there?
About 4 years before I went to the advertising.
The advertising
Now, see that?
What's French fries? Right. Don't be filming food.
What'd you do? Eat the meat? That's what we were all.
Oh, come on.
Oh, the car, you lady. Old bag.
No way. I'm limber. Are you going out now? Are you going out now?
Procedure which the province won't pay for. A study's being conducted to see if Alberta will fund it in the future, but to qualify, patients must be under 55 years old. Murray offered to purchase private health insurance to pay for the procedure, but that is not allowed under the Alberta Health Insurance Act. Murray insists he's the victim of age discrimination and that his constitutional right to security of person is being violated.
You're let down by the system, and
You look like you were asleep.
when it comes to
I looked in
determining
there.
what my health care is.
Coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll tell you who is helping Murray in his fight and what the opposition Liberals fear will happen if Murray is successful. On today's online poll question, we want to know, should you be able to buy insurance for procedures covered by Alberta Health? To vote, go to our website, calgary.ctv.ca. Yesterday...
Oh. Looking at myself in the image of the. This is gonna scare me. I know.
it's not going to scare. Well, it's kind of. It is a little creepy.
Oh, that's all right.
Once you see it.
I don't mind. I don't believe in that.
See if you
garbage,
see it.
But anyway, car ad.
All right. Push. Hold on. I'll do it.
Okay, go. Just let's get this over with.
Okay. Well, it's
How long is it?
30 seconds. Hey.
Look like my ears.
No,
What's this supposed to be?
It's gonna scare me.
watch. Look.
I'm glad I had my.
Now here's everybody.
So where
Pause
was
it for a second here. Okay.
I have no idea.
Again,
All right.
Diana was the only one to see it. So
All
let's see if you guys you have to watch
You
it.
have to
real
light a
carefully.
fire. Smells like Gabriel. These guys have got to come to Gabriel.
Shadow.
Can't talk.
What am I looking for?
Oh!
seen her before.
Danny and June and the boys fly with the angels. And these are from the Cheritons family, the Cheriton family, Janet's family. And these are from Dwight and Marilyn and the grandkids. Very beautiful. And these ones here are from Gloria's family. His hands are very nice. Yeah, that was it. Wasn't that long?
No, 2 years. 2 years ago. Hi, how are you doing? Good, fine. Good. Oh, thank you. Oh, you're welcome. Oh, so nice. Good. This is up.
So how are you?
Oh, I'm good, Dawn.
How you doing here?
I'm fine.
Yeah.
Is he here?
Yeah, they'll try. She's having to visit here and then all this happens, so she's extended her.
Now, so have we identified everybody there?
Isn't that nice?
Who's doing that?
Randy, you, Diana.
Which one's Diana?
That looks like an older lady though back there.
That's Diana.
Is Mom's car there?
Mom, yeah, that could have been your mom's car, yeah.
She walks in, I'm oh my God.
Oh, yes. That's my husband. Hi, Julie. Oh, my God. Oh, yeah. I don't think my daughter's my daughter. No, I don't think so. My husband's around here somewhere. Well, that's 16. It's 23 now. That's Russ. Still the cutest kid ever. He is so cute. So and the cutest kid. Yeah, he is. He's kept his really You know what? Good. He's still full of me. Yeah. You know what? Professional. You guys can. Oh, yeah.
And Lauren and Brian have been best friends since they were 5 years old. And he goes, introduces, this is Lauren, my best friend Lauren Pearson, and these are my other friends. Well, you can't expect it.
Rattle off a bunch of names?
Can you hit Janet, Russ?
We're skipping around. You know what I enjoy? It's like, Peter calls me last night. First thing I heard.
It's sort of
Next door, they're all these next door.
Oh, Gloria. This is my friend of the family since I was little, like a teenager. This is Celia, this is Gloria. I think you take after
Mom's
yeah.
side?
Yeah. I see. You have gestures the same.
But where does my sister come into?
You have.
Do you think so?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know when I have to be there.
These are real. Everything's real. It should be carved this card.
I want to thank those family and friends who have traveled here, and we're grateful to see you and to spend some time with us and with Al. My name is Peter Sarandis. I'll be conducting. We'll begin this service with 2 tributes, one by Christina Holt, Al's granddaughter, and one by myself. We'll then have a DVD, a picture tribute to Dad when we finish, and we'll proceed in that order. Christina?
Roughly 3 years ago, my grandpa Al's battle with diabetes took a serious turn. When his leg was amputated, he responded with courage and much determination. I remember my mother being really upset and tearful, and Al could have been self-pitying, but instead was consoling and rock steady for his daughter. Of course, diabetes is a serious matter, and many more trials awaited. Over time, his condition got much more worse. And twice the word had passed that Al was expected to die. And he lived. Finally, roughly a month ago, the decision was made to take him off kidney dialysis, and it was thought that he had roughly a week to live. And again, one more time, he refused to go. Al had an extraordinary will to live and an extraordinary love of life. And seeing what the man went through these past months has helped put the way he lived and his love of good times in perspective for me. Al was a reveler, a social person who loved music, company, and a good drink. Those who knew him well, can see him now, remember his smile and his heartfelt laughter, with the trademark Bacardi and Coke in hand and Camel cigarettes within easy reach. His social easiness lended itself to his professional life. As a top-notch pharmaceutical salesman, or as a drug pusher as we like to tease him. When at work, he was a sharp dresser and cut quite a figure on his many trips to LA. For many years, in another trademark of his, the yellow shark-like Tornado, he loved that car. LA, for the unfamiliar, is Lethbridge, Alberta, one of Al's favorite jokes. I had the pleasure of working with my grandpa, and it was a pleasure. I got to see how respected and well-liked he was around the business. The Godfather is what he was called, and appropriately, always will be. He believed in us and looked out for us, especially Melanie and I, when he thought that we were ordering too many margaritas on Lori's tab at one of our many work outings. To see Al at his best was perhaps to be at the Sarantis household on any weekend or special occasion with family and friends, together with his brother George. George had a special gift for making people, as well as Al, laugh. And I can see them together now, even though it was so many years ago. George doing the stand-up routine, and Al with arm wrapped around Rita being the setup man. The easy manner in which Al made friends is a trait which I still admire. On many a summer eve, the whole of Rendell Ridge would assemble to the backyard, laughing, singing, and dancing. And one Stampede week, the hoedown must have gotten pretty serious, because the next weekend he had to have a building of the deck party, because the deck had actually caved in from the overly enthusiastic activity of the participants. If I remember correctly, the music was MC Hammer's You Can't Touch This. Of course, Grandma was in Toronto the whole time. Al was also legendary for being the first guy to have all the new gadgets. When him and the boys snuck down to Electric Avenue after the Flames won the Stanley Cup, he was of course the only one to have a cell phone, the old gigantic ones. Well, he was letting everyone call their family and friends. Soon enough the bill came, $1,500. Believe it, be it reel-to-reel tape recorders or 8mm video, bug zappers and Sony Walkmans, or the time he introduced Soda Mystic to the neighborhood, Al was always the first one to embrace and proudly display new technological household wonders. He also had this boom box that wrapped around his shoulders like a purse that would blow everyone away with its sound quality. He walked around with that thing for a long time. Over the last few days, I had a difficult time trying to work out how I was going to write this. But once I started, more and more memories were flowing to me. So much that it was overwhelming. A very special one that I would like to share is that I'd forgotten about, but came to me in an instant last night. When I was about 10 or 11, I wrote my grandpa a letter and sent it to his home. It was about stuff like school and my brother, but I remember how it touched him and how he never forgot about it. I recall that he did not respond to that letter right away, but that he had kept saying he was going to. Well, time went on, and 4 or 5 years later, I got that letter from him at a time when it was needed most. Depending on who you are, family, friend, or perhaps a professional acquaintance, you would have known my Grandpa Al in a different light and have been exposed to part of the man or parts of his life. I was his granddaughter and perhaps saw things I could not understand as a child, saw those things with the raw innocence and honest eye that only the young have. And from that perspective, the thought I would like to leave you most with is that Al's love of life and his engaging, friendly spirit has enriched me and my life.
Alexander Peter Sarantis was born in Vancouver, British Columbia, June 9, 1927. There were many things to love about my father. He was a good provider. As a child, I felt safe and secure, knowing that he was providing for our every need. When he was young, he dreamed about being a doctor. And when his life didn't go in that direction, he did other things. He was, however, a very savvy businessman and salesman and an entrepreneur. He started several successful businesses, and eventually, when his last business and enterprise didn't work out, at 47 years old, he humbled himself, and he took a job doing manual labor at a meat packing plant. He knew that supporting his family was his most important responsibility. He literally carried this responsibility on his shoulders, hefting 200-pound slabs of beef for 10 hours a day. I remember the bruises on his shoulders. He did it because he loved us and he wanted to provide for us. During that time, he was down, but he wasn't out. And over the course of time, he educated himself in the pharmaceutical industry. And I remember the long hours this man spent studying and educating himself in anatomy, human physiology, and hundreds of drugs. And he memorized that, and he got a job as a pharmaceutical rep and became a very successful pharmaceutical rep, and then eventually moved his way up the corporate ladder. I remember going with him on sales trips. We all did as children. He took me to numerous drugstores throughout southern Alberta. And as we entered those stores, everyone, from the clerks to the checkers, would voice the common refrain, "Hi, Al." And they all did it with a big smile on their face. They were generally glad to see him. And all the pharmacists, without fail, would take me aside and say, "Your dad is a great guy. He really looks after us." My father loved life. He loved luxury automobiles, from his Oldsmobile Tornados to his Lincoln town car. He traveled in style. He also had the latest and greatest technology, and I guess that's a recessive gene that he passed on to his sons, to the dismay of our wives. For example, we were the first family in Miles, in our neighborhood, that had a color TV. My dad couldn't resist filling our home with music generated from the biggest, baddest stereo systems that he could get his hands on. Dad loved music, all genres, all instruments. He loved to sing. He was an amateur musician. How often we laughed from the strains of the sounds of mandolins and keyboards coming from the basement. Dad loved to cook, and he was a real joy to be around in the kitchen. He elevated cooking to an art form long before it became fashionable. Anyone who ever tasted his barbecue sauce will never be satisfied with any other. Dad loved his vices. He loved to drink, he loved to eat, he loved to smoke. Even when doctors told him that he needed to change his lifestyle, he chose not to. He loved to entertain. My father was a party looking to have it. He was the host, the maitre d', the chef, the bartender, the entertainment, all rolled up into one. My father loved people. He never knew a stranger. He had an immediate rapport with people. He made them feel comfortable. And they in turn loved him. And they felt his warmth, his generosity of spirit, his love for life. The activity in the neighborhood was always centered around Dad and our home. He was colorful. To this day, all of my buddies do an impression of him. Dad was larger than life. He had a strong sense of justice. If Dad ever felt he or a member of the family had been dealt with unjustly, he would fight long and hard to defend us. I remember going to the Stampede with him and Diana and Tina, and we went to the Midway and got up on a Ferris wheel type ride. And while Diana was I was already seated with Tina, and while Diana was being hoisted up, the operator of that ride started that ride prematurely, and Diana lost her balance and grabbed onto the foot bar. And there she stood, hung, suspended, as the Ferris wheel went around very slowly until it came back down. My father stood in dismay. Well, we were very shocked that we spent the rest of the afternoon, instead of going on rides and doing things we wanted to, we sat and we went around and searched for the manager of that Midway so my father would retain some small sense of justice. I knew Dad loved us. When we were children, he would lavish us with gifts at Christmas time, and he got pleasure out of watching our excitement and joy. Even when he disciplined us, I understood that it was out of concern for our well-being. And always he would show afterwards an increased amount of love. We were an extremely difficult group of children to raise, and there were many unpleasant encounters that Dad had to choose to endure with our teachers, our counselors, our friends, our neighbors, and principals, and even the police. He was our advocate with those people, but then when he would return, after doling out the appropriate punishment, he would passionately plead with us to be better students, better citizens, better family members, because he loved us, and we knew that. There was no doubt in my mind that he would give his life for us. He loved my mother. At the end of the day, he came home for my mother. She cooked for him, and they shared their meals together. They shared the minutiae of their days and welded their union. He was proud of her, and he spoke freely of that, of her strengths. He bragged about her cooking, her achievements at work, and of course how beautiful she is. He defended her. One sure way for us to get into hot water was to back talk my mother. Endings are a perfect opportunity for new beginnings. It is the fondest desire of every parent that their children become better than they are. I think that it would be a fitting tribute to our Father if each one of us closely examined our own lives. I want to scrutinize the conduct and my conduct and determine what I need to change to be a better person. Really dig deep and be honest with myself. This occasion is a time for myself and for all of us to put away childish things and to make a commitment to improve in significant ways. This is how we can give back to Dad and honor him at his passing, a way that we can reciprocate his undying love. I pray that as the days pass, we will be comforted by the vibrant memories of Al Cervantes, that the strength of his personality will stimulate us to live our lives to the fullest, to make every hour and every day count. May this be our aim as we honor Alexander Peter Cervantes. I pray in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
They decided to the sounds are that's what I was thinking of the hospital.
Force, I do the mathematics, eh?
Oh, really?
It's 43 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Where'd you meet him?
Well, there was a guy by the name, I don't, you wouldn't know, Paul Ogilvie.
Sign. Thank you.
But Paul Ogilvie was the bookie, and him and Al used to do a little bit of horse racing, horse betting together.
Of course.
And if it was bad, they get involved. Or, well, not bad really, but they like to keep into the activities whereby they were always on the fringe. Well, you know that. Well, were you guys ever around when the cellar was in operation? No, yeah, well, that was the start of many days of frivolity.
The gay 60s.
Oh, you bet. You bet. So it's got to be 63, 64.
Yeah.
the old, not the Carriage House. What was the name of that hotel on 16th Avenue or 16th Avenue and
That was the Carriage House, right there.
Yeah.
Near,
Well, that's where I first knew he was working bar up there at that time, eh? So,
I wish I did. No, I wish I did.
very good. History did a lot of work together.
Yeah, it was.
A lot of work in that.
No, it actually turned out really nice.
Very
Because,
good, yeah.
first of all, I didn't have the photos. I thought Peter had them when I went over to his house first. From Oregon to Idaho.
Every time there's a student that goes up
I
and
know.
buys something new. What happens to the last 652?
Oh, you said 252. That would have been good.
652.
When I was a kid, I grew up,
You know what it didn't mean either until everyone
James the rolling reporter.
Ceiling. Like,
Well,
look at the corners there.
You can see the beams.
My parents go remember the walls. None of my parents. No? Didn't?
Catching it all on film?
Yeah, I'm the videographer.
I remember one year we spent hours and hours and hours putting all the books.
play your favorite song.
Nobody does that.
Christina, reenact. Get this on film.
Get the singing and dancing on now.
It's nice of Alice. Alice is nice.
I don't even want to think about that. I was playing this for you, Grandma.
Straws are coming out.
Give him 10. He doesn't crack to plus 3 meeting your friends.
Yeah, they said 4 days. Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't be bored as hell. This is Grandpa's last night.
Well, actually, he was
Celebrating.
like water. And I guess you can.
No, I'm not giving him 20. No.
Gee, just water.
Yeah. Make it
Yeah, he's getting.
It's good for my dad.
Who's off? Give me who's held?
And we just got her back.
Go on
Yeah, but I did.
I've been on 4 days. I don't have any money.
I love you.
I haven't worked for a while.
Turn it up, right?
Isn't there a knob right there that you can just go like this? No. It was like this?
To just go fishing.
So zap.
You know what I mean? Oh, for sure.
The swan was in there.
Oh, we all
But baby, I don't even know you anymore. Good girls. And despite the fact it's hurting me, I know the time has come to set you free.
Very good.
But the words get in the way. There's so much I want to say, but it's locked deep inside. Got nothing but time. I know. Oh, you are a shining star. Don't worry what you're leaving behind. Every time you walk in the room, could never be sure of a smile. You were never the same way twice. I'm falling in love all night after night. Oh, it's crazy. Oh, you've got to try.
You're dancing this.
She's drowning us out. Why don't you know you've got to try? Try. Oh, baby, you try. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, night after night. Oh, it's crazy. Oh, you got to try. Try. Well, you know you got to try. Try. Oh, baby, you try. Oh, try.
Grandpa.
You know, I've seen America's Got Talent.
Yeah.
And you're better than a lot of them.
Canada's Got Talent, baby.
Soul, baby. That's the 80s dance right there. That whole
So we can play the number 1 team in the division. You don't bring anybody?
I was here last game.
Good job, buddy.
I missed it.
You just won the biggest game of your life. Now what are you going to do?
Going to Disneyland. Eugene, Oregon, maybe.
There you go. You look really prissy in that blanket, Peter.
Who's number 35 on the defense?